Hi, my name's Amanda, and welcome back to the Home Podcast. This is a podcast where I collaborate with my higher self to deliver perspective and guidance and wisdom and messages all about life, the universe, and everything from my soul's perspective, with the hope that you can begin to see yourself and the world around you through a new lens, offering you a new way of seeing you and navigating this earth life experience as you. I learned how to trance channel a couple years ago, and it was something that wasn't in my frame of reference at the time. It just sort of happened. And when I discovered that I could do it, I was excited by it because it was something new and exciting that I could play with. And I took the opportunity to do that. And I channeled whoever wanted to come through me. I was an open vessel, and I just wanted to see what was possible inside of this new ability that I had. And recently, this year, I would say, my energy started to shift a little bit. And I began to see a limitation inside of channeling. I began to witness myself looking at these beings of light as though they were on a pedestal above me, that I was seeing them as more capable, more knowledgeable, more of a higher frequency than I was, and that their voice was more valuable than mine. And my voice got lost in that. And I was doing so much channeling, I began to notice that there were gaps inside of what I was able to offer clients where I knew that my perspective and my ability as a coach could have helped them. And I wasn't giving myself an opportunity to because I was so focused on the channeling. And on the flip side, I began to witness clients coming to me for my channeling, looking for answers. And they were completely disregarding their own intuition, their their own inner voice, and they weren't feeling safe inside of who they were to trust themselves to guide themselves. And they were hoping that myself and whoever I was channeling would be able to tell them what to do and give them the answers that they were searching for in order to feel a sense of trust and a sense of safety inside of them. And it was almost this crutch that we were all using that was limiting us to a certain degree. And so I decided to take a step back from channeling, and I haven't channeled for a while. I haven't trance-channeled for a while. I'm still channeling, but I have been approaching my channeling as more of a collaboration where I invite forward my higher self and receive wisdom from her and then infuse it with my own. And that has felt really, really good. And for a long time, I didn't have the desire to do any form of trance channeling. And then very, very recently, the nudge has reappeared for me. And I decided that I would hold off on trance channeling until I understood how I wanted to go about doing it, because I want it to be from a much more purposeful and intentional place than it was before. I want it to serve whatever it is that I'm looking to create or to infuse in my work. And today, in particular, was a very rough day for me. And I've had something planned that got kind of rescheduled to a different day. And I found myself with a big empty open space today and trying to figure out how to fill it. And this nudge to channel was just kind of in the background and present. And I got into meditation to kind of feel into what that was and if perhaps there was an opportunity for me today to start back up again. And although I'm still not clear on how I desire to use my ability as a trance channel at this point in time, I wanted to take the opportunity to channel my higher self in this moment. I just felt this pull to feel her frequency inside of me and allow it to flow through me, not really knowing what was going to come through or what purpose it would serve or who would receive it and how. But I just felt the nudge to do so. And so, what you're about to hear on today's episode is me trance channeling my higher self with a message for you. So, this is still a collaboration because I'm here. And I think as I'm saying this right now, that is being made clear to me is that it was always a collaboration. I felt like my voice was being silenced, but I'm here. I'm the vessel, and my voice is what's being used to transmit this frequency. And it's also a collaboration in that you're here with me receiving it. And there's a give and take of energy there. And um, what a beautiful message that she's just offering me right now and perspective that I didn't fully see until this very moment. And so, what you're about to listen to and watch today is me trance channeling my higher self, meaning I invite her energy into my physical body and she uses my vessel, my mouth, my voice to speak directly to you on something that she thinks would help support you in whatever you're going through at this time. So please enjoy this message from my higher self and from me. Thank you for listening. I am so honored to be here today and to be able to share with you all that I desire to. For I believe that the message that I have for you today will be one that will be recognizable for many of you, something that you may be familiar with, but perhaps required a reminder because many of you are going through a dark night of the soul at this time. For it is a time of massive shifts in energy, both inside and out, on this planet and in this cosmos. And you are feeling the effects of this much more deeply than perhaps you realize. And over the course of the next few months, you are going to witness it that much more. Or there are going to be many changes taking place around you. Many that some of you will deem to be less than desirable. Perhaps this is simply because you are not able to see the bigger picture yet. And that is simply to be determined and perhaps part of the very purpose of your journey here, one of trust, one of deep sense of trust in humanity. Oftentimes we discuss self-trust, but it is much more difficult to trust those who do not lie inside of your own consciousness because you do not have the same sense of control over those around you as you do your own state. And this is what I would like to speak into today is the trust of your fellow humanity to guide you where you're desiring to go. And I know this might seem implausible to be able to put your sense of trust into someone else's hands, to be able to guide you where you desire to go. But what I would like to offer you is a fresh perspective on perhaps a level of consciousness that you may not have been ready to perceive until now. You see, many of you travel throughout your life here feeling very alone, feeling deeply disconnected from those around you, and it's not hard to understand why. When you look around you, oftentimes you do not feel understood, and you feel as though you are alone inside of your time here. But I ask of you, is this because you truly are alone inside of your time here? Or is it simply because you do not give those around you an opportunity to hear you in the way you desire to be heard? And perhaps the same goes for them too. Where are they not listening where you desire to be? And perhaps what's required is more listening than speaking. Because we can exclaim and express our deepest desires. But if there is nobody there to listen with an open heart and a clear consciousness, then those words do not go heard by anyone but ourselves. And this is what I am witnessing going on at this time on this planet. Is everybody desires to be heard and seen and recognized. But perhaps there is a lack of reciprocity here. Because this clashing of opinions that you are witnessing taking place around you is not the issue, my loves. It is your inability to allow it to be present that is. Because it is not a difference in opinion that is creating your pain. It is your inability to witness this difference with an open heart because you are so focused on your own internal struggle that you're not seeing that those around you are working through the same. And what you are witnessing is simply every single person on this planet going through very similar struggle and very similar clashing of ideologies and attempting to feel heard by those around them. But when there is nobody willing to listen, all that we are left with is a cacophony of voices screaming into the void, feeling so alone. So, what I desire for you to know today is that perhaps the pain inside of this present reality is coming from the part of you that is not willing to listen, that is not willing to trust in those around you to do the same, and that together as a community, through listening to one another, you can rise above and feel what desires to be felt beneath. Love. Love for those in your life who do not see life in the same way as you do. And love for you as you work through your inability to. I understand that it can feel frustrating when those inside of your community disregard how you feel. And I beg of you to look within and ask yourself where you are doing the same. Ultimately, there is no right or wrong on this planet. There is simply your right and wrong. and the right and wrong of every single person living here. And when you can see that it is not right nor wrong, that is the issue for you, but your inability to find common ground, that is, you will see that your pain is simply the version of you that is unwilling to listen, and the version of you that does not desire to feel the right and wrongs of those around you because yours carries more weight. There are many individuals on this planet who are not yet willing to listen. And I understand that it can be frustrating when it seems as though those are the people that hold the most power over you. But what I desire for you to know is that it is not that they hold power over you. It is that you are allowing them to, because you are not willing to see that they don't hold any power over you when you do not allow them to be inside of your mind in the way that you do. You do not always have the power to control the circumstances of your life, my loves, but you have absolute power to control the circumstances of your mind. And there is no person or being capable of taking that away from you. And sometimes this can feel as though it is not enough. Because what is the point of living on this planet if your circumstances are always outside of your control? But what I desire for you to witness inside of this moment is that they are not outside of your control if you can perceive them otherwise. When you can see that it is not your day-to-day life that is being hijacked from you, but is your perception of it that is, you will see that you are, in fact, quite all right in this present moment, inside of this space and time with me here, receiving this message through your heart and opening up to the awareness that right here, right now, you are alive and you are well. And oftentimes, it does not feel that way, but that is simply the lens through which you are choosing to see it. The greatest gift that you have ever been given inside of your time here is the gift of consciousness, the perspective that you hold, and the way that you desire to wield it. And you are the creator of your reality here if you so choose to see it that way. How can you see that it is not your life that is at the mercy of another, but simply your perspective that is? And how can you take back what is yours? Hope, freedom, peace, sense of self, which are only found and accessed within. That is the gift that you have been given from your soul self here, is the gift of the realization and the remembering that you are so much greater than your circumstances. And when you can access that frequency from within you and the realization that you are not you, you are simply the perception and the believer of you, you can access a level of perspective that is beyond your human capacity to. And you begin to see that it is not you that suffers, it is your perception of you that does. And when you can shift your perception of you from one of pain to one of glory, it does not matter how others choose to see you or whether or not they choose to hear you in this moment, because you hear you. And you also hear that they too desire to be heard by you. And perhaps this is the change that is required first, the change that you can create within you and then offer it to another. the gift of listening, the gift of whole sacred space of understanding. And once each and every single one of you can provide that to you and beyond you, you will see that you are not so different from one another. You are simply, each and every single one of you, a version of the next, withholding the very thing that you seek most, peace inside of you, and then knowing that that can never be removed from you unless you allow it to. The next little while, decades, perhaps years, and beyond this, may be rife with conflict on this planet. But I desire to reflect back to you that it has never been different than this. There has never been a period of time of absolute peace unless you choose to see it that way. Because ultimately, this planet is a representation of how you see you, how you feel within you, and how you move through life as such. You can see life on this planet as rife with conflict, or you can see it as an opportunity for expansive evolution of the self. And perhaps one oftentimes serves the other only if you allow it to. So, although you might witness pain and suffering in those around you, what can you do for you in this very moment to offer something different? And inside of you, create a world that only you have access to. And then, when you choose to, offer it to your neighbor too. And in this way, you create the reality that you seek. And one by one, each and every single one of you will choose to do the same. But oftentimes, what is required in order to get to this point is pain. Because it is through pain that we desire something different for ourselves. Otherwise, we do not choose to change who we are enough to receive the light inside of it. What I would like to leave with you today is a message of hope, that the hope lives within you if you so choose to see it that way, that you are the light you seek, and it is not going to come from those around you unless you see the light within you first. Because if you cannot see the light within you, you will never, ever be able to hold the space necessary to hear the pain in those around you and offer them a chance to feel their light too. You have a job to do, my love, and your job is to love you, to hold you through whatever it is that you feel you must overcome in this time. And I promise you the journey will be well worth the wait, because the light that you will access inside of the dark tunnel will be one that can never be taken from you. And you will see that you had your power all along. And the power dynamic that you witness outside of you, shifting and changing constantly, will always be something to be witnessed and never expressed through you. Because you are not of it, you are simply the observer of it. And this is where your true light shines through. The light inside of the remembrance of you and all that you are inside of that and nothing more. I would like to leave you with a suggestion to take from this experience today. And that is the opportunity to call upon your own sense of self to guide you through these dark times. The light within you is not always easily accessible when it is not believed to be there first. How can you reach out to your team, your devoted team of light around you, and ask for their help and guidance as you learn to access the light within? And they will be happy to guide you there when you are willing to see that the journey for that is in. I love you so much. And I pray that one day you do too.
If the messages here resonate with you, and if you're ready to begin witnessing, embracing, and embodying your light and accessing the divine creator within, come join my community home. Inside of home, you'll have access to live events, a library of meditations and somatic exercises, and an incredible community of open-hearted and like-minded people. And if you're at all unsure, it's completely free to join. So you can take all the time you need to explore what's in there, watch recordings from past events, and get a feel for what's truly available for you when you give yourself permission to come home to you. Head to the show notes to find the link to join us.